All right. Welcome, everyone, to my first show ever. I'm going to probably mess up many times, but you don't even know that. What we're going to do today is just talk about collecting. Just to give you a history, I've been collecting Hot Wheels on and off since the 1980s. I can tell you a story of how I got into it, but we'll wait for other people to as my guests to come up and share their stories as well. So what I want to do is basically just talk about collecting. You know, what do you collect? Why do you collect it? What got you involved with collecting? Why are you so addicted to it? And is there psychological reasoning behind it? I am not a psychologist. I don't claim to be, but maybe I'll have somebody who is a psychologist come on and explain it a little bit better. Because there's some people who collect and they have OCD or some other type of form of compulsive disorder. And I know I don't have that. I do have a good collection of Hot Wheels, but it's not like I have to get it every single day. I have to get it every single week. And because of my wife, she doesn't let me anyways, so I have a budget when I buy Hot Wheels. And in here where I live, there's a little bit of difference in Hot Wheels because you can't just buy them for 75 cents or $1. You have to shell out $3. And when you shell out $3, you gotta make different choices on what you collect. And I'll kind of go through on the Hot Wheels side, at least, a little bit about what you want to look for if you want to get into Hot Wheel collecting, because things have changed dramatically. But there's some great tools out there that you can utilize, and probably for your collection as well. Unless it's something that's not bought, then you can't. But there are sites out there that help you manage your collection. So with that said, I'm going to open up the seats, and I believe Steve and some other people are going to be stopping by. And the seats are now unlocked. So Steve, you're welcome to grab a spot if you'd like. Oz, you can grab a spot. Good morning, Steve. How are you doing today?
Great.
Excellent, excellent. Good to see you again. And Mighty Oz.
Hello, sir.
Work? Hola.
It is. Okay, good. We were testing before, and his audio was having problems too.
I'm pushing back the borders.
So, guys, obviously, you collect. What do you collect, Steve?
I used to collect up until recently. There was other financial motivations, like you were saying. You had to make choices. But I collected comic books a lot, especially when I was younger. That was probably the big thing. And the reason that I did it was I was just so fascinated with superheroes and stuff like that. And I mean, we didn't have the movies now, so it was pretty much the movie was the comic book. And I think it was a psychological thing because my childhood was a little rough. I mean, it probably wasn't the worst that it could be, but it gave me some issues, and I found solace in it kind of took me away from the situations and stuff that were going on in my life. So that's probably the reason why I did it. And then as I got older, it was more just, I think, recapturing that feeling when I was younger of, I don't know, I have an active imagination anyway, so that just added to it. But that's pretty much why I did it. And
so does that reflect today? I mean, you don't collect them anymore?
No, I just recently stopped. Like I said, I started getting too busy being an adult. And
responsibilities.
Right, yeah, choices. I'm not married anymore, so that's not I can't use that as an excuse, but.
So what did you do with the collection then? It's still there?
I gave most of them to my son.
Inherited.
So, yeah.
And then, then the question is this: is he collecting now? Then,
I think he's keeping them more for like he really got excited about it, like a lot more than I thought he was going to. But I think it's just more of a cool thing that his dad used to do that now he had, like he actually has them, that his dad collected. I don't know if he's going to or not because there's not many comic stores around here, like comic book stores. So,
yeah, that makes a difference, I guess. But you can buy online too. But don't.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah.
Don't give him a credit card.
No.
unless it's one of those prepaid ones where you can kind of keep track of,
Yeah, put your own money on there, not mine.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, cool. Well, thanks for sharing. Oz, what about you?
Yeah, mine is consumable.
Consumable.
Yes.
I
collect beers. I'm a beer snob.
Oh, that's cool.
So you collect the bottles, you mean?
Well, sometimes, but mostly I do it with a social program called Untap. I can just log my beers in the social media. Jesus! Stop! Oh, Jesus Christ! Timing is perfect. But basically, you find a beer that's something you've never had before, and you drink it, and you can rate the beer in your social Untapped profile, and then it also gives you an index card so you can go back and look it up if you don't remember what the hell you had, because sometimes the party gets out of bounds.
You know how many quantities you drink too? Is that
it keeps track of it, yeah. So, but it requires participation to keep up with it, right? So if you don't log it in, it didn't happen.
I think I heard of that before. They had that in Minneapolis. I think somebody was having an app or something that they were using, and they were keeping track of what they were drinking at different establishments.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
So this is an app called Untapped. It's UNTPDD or something like that. I have to look it up, but it's basically available for all your mobile devices and your computer. But it's just a social way of keeping track of stuff. But the cool part about it is that I started brewing beer about 3 years ago, and I put my brewery on there, and people can chime in and tell what they think about your beer. So you get a running blog of their thoughts and the ratings on your own products that you make.
So you get like stars or something if you get the most beers in the city or something?
I guess so, because it does give out those reward badges and stuff, just like any social media.
Gamification, yeah.
I'm just a very small tick on a gnat's ass in this scenario, because I just started. So there's people that are doing it on a much grander scale than I am, but it's a collection. Obviously, the bigger it gets, the more you can go. Yeah, look, I got 1,000 beers. I'm not even close to
that. I would think that what's his face Vanderchuck would have that for his wine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting collection. Yeah, the database I use for Hot Wheels is pretty unique. I could probably show it here. I like it because, well, two things I like about it, and I'll probably donate to them because it's so cool, is that when you go into it, it actually shows you other members that are part of the collective. Almost I want to say it's like a Star Trek episode. But you can sort by year, you can sort by series, and it's just a phenomenal thing. And what I really like about it is that it keeps track of what you have in your collection, and you don't have to take a picture of it. It basically has that picture if you basically
from
look
a database.
Yeah. So if
cool.
It's not there, obviously, because there has been many cars that I've put in there that it has not even showed up. that I would have to take a picture and do the description to add to the database. But I think it's the most comprehensive thing I've ever used in my life, and I love it. It shows right now, and I don't even have my whole collection in there. I think it shows where I got to log in here first. I was going to show you guys this if I didn't have any technical difficulties, but I did.
Preston without technical difficulties.
I know. He's learning, because then I could share the screen and show this to you.
My Hot Wheels collection goes back to the 60s, but unfortunately, they're heavily used and nowhere near the same as they were when they were pristinely brand new. But,
but that's okay.
We could turn it into more of a junkyard restoration project.
Well, yeah, if you could do that, I mean, obviously, but even the ones, especially the red lines, the ones with the red tires, even if they're scratched and dented, there's a lot of collectors that want it.
What if you broke the windows and you had to chop the top?
I don't know about that. You still have collectors who are probably collecting for it.
You put your own paint job on it.
Yeah, with shoe polish.
Yes.
There you go. Well, I can't show it to you, but it basically, and I can't even get into it now because I wiped out my cookies.
We probably ruined a mint worth of Hot Wheels.
Yeah. Well, Hot Wheels has been around for a long time,
we got them to use them, and only the collection thing came up after we discovered that people were actually doing that, and there's a huge value, but all of our value was used up.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I used to play with them all the time. I used to have a whole bunch of them, and then I went to my cousin, and we discovered his under his bed when he wasn't there. And so it was in a nice little box.
Treasure.
We started playing with it, and boy, when he got home, he was upset. We're like,
that's when you learned about collecting.
And I felt so bad about it. I was just like, I am so sorry. I didn't, I was like 6 or 7, so I didn't really think about anything. But I was, he was livid.
My first collection was baseball cards, and I thought that I was the man when it came to baseball cards, and I had some really good stuff, like going back to like Babe Ruth and just these real cool cards. And my brother traded them away for a frog, and he loaded them up in his lunchbox, and he took them to school and traded them for a frog. We had a ceremony for the frog because it didn't last like a day and a half, and it was dead. So we had to bury it in the planter box, but it wasn't an equitable trade, in my opinion.
Oh, wow.
No. Oh, I knew there was going to be some crazy stories here today.
It discouraged me on collecting for quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah, well, looking at my collection too, I got, I don't know if I want to say it, because then I'm going to be looked as OCD or hoarding. But so far, and like I said, it's not in the database. So far in the database, like I said, I got about 500, which is about
That's respectable
10%. I got about 5,000 or more cars.
So you're only claiming 10%.
Claiming 10%. I got boxes and boxes and boxes and more boxes that are in my back room. I try to convince my wife. I said, look, in order for me to really understand what I collect, to make sure that I don't collect doubles and triples of the same car, I said, why can't I just put it up on my wall in my room and just cover the whole wall like a wallpaper? She didn't like that idea. So therefore, the boxes. But I got things back from the 80s that are still in the box. I collected it when I was in high school, and one of the ones that I really enjoyed and I really want now because they're more popular in value is they used to have these, and some of the new ones that are coming out do have this, but of course it's not the original, but they're still selling at a pretty decent chunk, is these things called super treasure hunts. And what super treasure hunts are is they're a metal flake paint that just stands out, They then have somewhere on the car, and you have to have bifocals to see it. Sometimes is the fact that it has TH on it, which means treasure hunt. They used to have cards that said treasure hunt on it. So when you went to the store, you could easily find it. Well, they don't do that no more. They mix it up with all these different series. And then on top of it, which really upsets me, is they'll have the same car or the same vehicle that is a treasure hunt, but it's not considered a treasure hunt because it doesn't have these real rider tires, which are rubber. It's just frustrating because you're like, I got it, I got one. Like yesterday, I was at where was it, Dionso that we have here, and I said, okay, Preston, we're gonna find a treasure hunt today. I know we are, and they had a sale, so I'm like 50% off. I'm there. I'm gonna get as many treasure hunts as I can, and I'm looking through it, and I said, here's a treasure hunt. Here's a treasure hunt. Here's a treasure hunt. And I said, here, Preston, can you look at this and make sure that there's a TH in there? Daddy, there's no TH in here. I said, what do you mean? It's the same car. He said, no. And so then I did research, and sure enough, they have the same car that's not a treasure hunt. And I'm like, what's the point?
It's to throw you off the trail.
Yeah, exactly. So, for most people, especially those who collect and sell them to others, some people call them scalpers. Some people call them that they're just mean people because they'll go in there. And I belong to groups on Facebook, and I've seen this, and, I have kind of a bad feeling about it, but I also, I kind of look at their perspective and go, okay, well, if they want to make an extra living, I guess they can. But they'll get like 15 or 20 of these and not even leave anything for anybody else, and they'll even go into the boxes that are in the store, like on the top shelves, take them down and open them up.
Oh, wow.
To find their collection. But what I don't like about it is when you have people have 20 of them, they don't leave anything left for anybody else, and then of course they go resell them on eBay. But they say, well, we're going to like 6 different stores, 8 different stores, so we're wasting our gas, we're wasting our time, so we got to make something for it. And I'm like, all right. I don't. But it's a thrill of the hunt. I think that's why they do it too. I was hoping I could get one of my friends who is part of this group who does that, but he didn't show up today yet. But yeah,
I forgot about this stuff, but I have tons of baseball cards and hockey cards and all these cards that are in wax packs and unopened. Because I guess that's the most desirable, and I actually have case quantities of full cases that are not open. But those are on speculation that they could pay for the kids' colleges. But the kids are all graduated now, and I still got them in the boxes, so that didn't work out.
Yeah, well, they'll give it to their kids then.
Yeah, because the promise was that, oh man, I'll open these up when the kids get big enough to go to college, and we'll be able to bankroll the whole thing. But they're still in the closet and not open.
Well, then it's your retirement fund.
Yeah, your retirement fund.
There's that. I'm looking forward to. I'm looking to upgrade my brewery into a much higher level. It's expensive, man. So what I thought I was going to do that was a free kit turned into a nightmare. I'm addicted.
Oh, the home brewing, you mean?
Yeah. I'm off the rails. Off the rails.
Yeah, the free kit. Thousands.
Yeah, my next phase is going totally electric with everything computer controlled because I'm a tech guy. So I have to do it. I have to do it that way just to make sure it's like science.
So you're mighty Oz, the science guy.
Yeah, I do complicated stuff. My day job is dealing with satellite geodesy, which is basically positioning.
Mm-hmm.
So you can get down to millimeter level accuracy in a matter of seconds.
Wow.
And I run a network for the entire state of Louisiana doing that. So that's kind of my thing. And then I have to have diversions to keep my mind from going nuts.
Don is coming into us in a very blurry camera.
It looks like a ghost or a poltergeist.
He collects seeds.
Let me put my glasses on.
That's great, Don. That's great. He learned a new trick. That's awesome.
I do have something up the sleeve.
I thought he just hit his bong or something.
Oh, now I'm going to be known for that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what Donald collects.
The cloud is there for a reason.
It could be that's a weird stigma that's attached to that. It's really so bizarre because other cultures around the world use so many other things to change their mindset, you know, for one thing or another, like whether it be alcohol or some other natural occurring herb. It's kind of bizarre.
Well, I should say this show, because it is being recorded, please keep it to PG-13.
PG-13? Yeah.
Yeah, just because, you know, kids might listen to it.
The thing with those Hot Wheels tracks, I remember one time my neighbor, his name was Gaylord. He changed his name as soon as he turned 18, too, by the way.
He said 13 reasons, right?
Yuri.
He got teased a lot when he was going to school. But I saw both his mom and his dad chase him out the door sometimes with a Hot Wheel track, just wanting to smack his ass. Like, hey.
That hurts. That hurts a lot.
Yeah. Those on those tracks.
Used to beat each other. I had 4 brothers, and we used to beat each other those tracks, and it was brutal, man.
Oh, that's painful.
The welts that those things left.
That's worse than getting snapped by a towel.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Thermoplastic is not your friend.
Yeah, they got some cool things on YouTube of these guys who are building these amazing tracks for their Hot Wheel collections, and it's just amazing. It's like thousands and thousands of feet of this track that is going all over the place, and the car stays on. You know, I'm like, okay, that's an engineer or somebody who really understands the miniaturization of a car and how fast it can go on a track, thousands of miles.
You tracks too, Preston?
I don't. They don't have them here. I used to have a lot of them.
Did you guys ever get to see any of the cars in real life from the ones that they modeled from the real cars?
Oh,
yeah. They had them.
There was a place where we would race. We would drag race. I used to take my mom's Camaro there and race it against other cars, my other friends in high school. But there was a van there that, you know, that backwards looking van?
Yep.
Yeah.
That drove backwards. It was like a van pickup truck kind of thing.
Yep.
And that thing showed up at OCIR a couple of times. And I was like, whoa, this is cool. Yeah.
Yeah, there are people who are building Hot Wheel cars that are normal cars.
Yeah. Yeah, the most recent one was the one that I saw on one of those newer programs on Netflix. They built the double motor one. It looked like 2 motors sitting side by side.
Well, yeah. I grew up in Santa Monica, and they had a place that made models, the Revell Model Company. Mm-hmm. And Revell did a bunch of Hot Wheels stuff, and they brought that stuff to the boys club when I was going to the boys club, and they gave it away to us to do like market testing type stuff, where they would ask us questions and interview us about what we thought about these toys and these models and whatnot. So we got a lot of that stuff, but the ones that stand out are the Snake and the Mongoose, if you remember those.
Oh yeah,
those are drag racers, and we got some of those. I think they're like really big, like probably 8th scale or 16th scale. They're really big, but they were models, and then they were just like the Hot Wheel cars that they came out with, where you could jack the funny car lids up and put the little stilts underneath there to make them come apart. That wasn't really a good design for long-term survivability. We tore those up pretty fast.
Yeah, that Mongoose.
I think there were HO trains. I had a collection of those, but slot car racers. I had this model about this big, I had one that was called La Cucaracha, and it was rocketing past every other car on the track. I don't know what it was. I just bought it, put it out right out of the box, put it on the track, and it was just a rocket.
Well, they had the big tracks that had like 10 or 12 lanes, and you'd like get inside the track, and they'd go around, and they were, I think they're 1/32 scale.
Yep.
Is that
or one? Yeah,
my
car
car's
Hot Wheel.
There's a
Facebook
site where they actually have a drag strip with electric slot cars on Facebook. It's pretty cool.
Electric cars are very fast. They're much faster than real cars.
Yep. Much faster than real cars. What do you mean? Like,
well, as far as scale by scale.
Yeah, I know. I'm just kidding.
But
I'm talking about
the tracks can't hold those cars if they're the electric engines go way too fast.
Yeah.
You have to throttle them back, put resistors on them and stuff to keep them from going too fast.
Have you seen the tests with Elon Musk's electric cars? They just smoke most of everything else.
Yeah, well, they should.
Yeah.
Well, the electric engine is way more efficient than a combustion engine, but the combustion engine just sounds so cool.
Yeah,
exactly. The old Mopars.
So I understand that some of these exotic sports electric cars are putting sound systems in that can duplicate the vibration and the sounds of the engine so that you can get that thrill back into the it's a visceral experience that you can't duplicate with an electric engine.
The BMW, I think, has some kind of a sound feedback thing that sounds like a motor running. It's kind of cool, but it also serves a second purpose: is it allows people to hear you when you're coming. They're
can't sneak up on them.
Yeah, because there's a lot of times when pedestrians don't hear your car coming, and it's kind of scary to walk out onto a street and all of a sudden there's a big old car there. Yeah,
I think
the style of driving is changing too. People are not paying attention to what they're doing. Driving used to require your attention, and now it's kind of like a secondary thing.
Yeah, their phones is more important.
Yeah.
Oh, here, I don't know what it's like over there where you're at, Preston, but everything here is manual transmission, almost everything. I mean, you have to pay pay a big premium, and plus the registration fees and stuff cost more when you go to buy an automatic transmission.
I wouldn't drive an automatic. I just do a manual transmission always. That's my only.
I love
kind of
it's
a man-machine interface thing that you got to be involved and engaged in it. Otherwise, it's not as fun. That's why I think that the electric cars and the ability to have autonomous vehicles that drive themselves takes you out of that experience so you can do something else. I get in the car because I want to do that.
Yeah. Yep.
Burn the rubber.
You too. You feel the power more because you can be in the gear that you want to be in.
Yeah, it took me 45 years to get my dream car. Now that I have it, I want to drive that fucking thing, man. Oops. PG.
I'm gonna hop off of here, Preston. I gotta get a hold of
my
right. Son. Real quick. There's a horror story that I had with. I was collecting football cards because I still love the NFL, and Topps used to have this Elite series, and they were very hard to find. And if you got one, they were. Usually the person was a top tier player and they were going to be worth something because they only made so many of them. Mm-hmm. I opened up a pack and I had gotten a Sterling Sharp Elite card, and it was like the fourth one out of 20, something like that. And I was so happy. I had it pressed like in a so it wouldn't get ruined. I was all happy. I was like, this is the only time I've ever gotten anything like that. And then 2 weeks later, he blows out his knees and ends his career.
Oh no!
And I guess the price of the card went in the toilet. So then I stopped collecting football cards.
That's weird. I would think that the card would go up in value.
It would have been worth a fortune, Donald, if he would have actually made it to the end of his career, because he probably would have gotten the Hall of Fame. But that's
too bad, man.
Thanks, Sterling
I
Sharp.
see those. I see those cards. There was a Goodwill shop down the road from us that had boxes and boxes and boxes of baseball cards that people just dumped off from the mid late 80s to early 90s. And I wish I could have grabbed them, but were they really worth anything though? Is the big question. Is how many in this?
Yeah, they I'm trying to remember the exact name. It was like Topps Elite Series or something like that. And they only made a run of them of just a very limited amount, and they were super hard to find. So I thought I was on top of the world until
45s.
This is what I collect. I used to collect a lot of, actually. I was a big stamp collector back in the day. Anybody still collect stamps? Anybody out there still collect stamps?
It might.
These are gold foil. These are special edition stamps that the Mint used to put out back in I want to say it was 1990 was the date on that's the postmark on there is 1990. So they had a bunch of different series of these where they're actually foiled in 22 karat gold and embossed. So they're really pretty cool stuff.
Wow.
But I can't find them anymore. I don't know whether they just discontinued the process and no one's really into. I can't find any collectors.
My grandmother used to buy us those mint sets of the coin, you know, the ones with the 5 coins.
Oh, yeah.
Quarter, nickel.
I got all kinds of those. Yep.
Yeah. And you know what my brother did one time? He cut into some of the packs and took the quarters out and used them in the local arcade games.
Oh, no. And they'd be silver, too. Yeah, for sure.
Machines in our arcade games used quarters. You know, you had to use a quarter to play. So he was like pumping in there and stuff. And then obviously, well, I don't know if the people who are collecting the coins at the end of the night were the ones that would go through there, because sometimes some of those guys were pretty savvy and they would look for that kind of stuff. But some of them would just ship them off to the bank and deposit them.
There we go.
Don has joined us.
What's up, Mr. Predator?
Here's what I collect right here, baby.
Beer cans?
Old beer cans.
I had a buddy who used to do that. Yeah, he had all kinds of stuff. I used to collect shot glasses. I gave that up.
That's in your house? That's actually there? Or those are pictures?
No, mine are at my ex-wife's old house, actually, up in her attic.
Oh, really?
I have nowhere to put them. My wife won't let me put them in my house.
Aw, man.
I have a couple hundred. I found them all in the desert in Las Vegas.
Did you really?
Yeah.
That's cool. I found most of my coins. Most of the coins I collected. I never really went out and bought coins for collecting. I always would find the silver and stick them in my boxes and stuff. Bought a few. Bought the mint sets, like Don was talking about. I'm getting a weird feedback on audio.
Yeah,
anybody else getting that?
Might be me.
Silver dollar.
Hold on. Stand by.
No, it's been on since I got here.
It's me.
Could be the system. Oh, did you get my pics that I snapped during the broadcast, John?
No.
I left a ton of them on your Skype account while the video was playing on my end. I was taking snaps of Michael and David and Jim, so they should be there.
Did you see the pictures from the photographer?
No, not yet. Are they on your page?
I'll show you. I don't know. I don't want to barge in on Preston's show, though.
No, I'm sorry. Yeah. Sorry, Preston. Go back to collecting. Right. Sorry. We're just collecting information.
No, I mean,
telling John to collect his photographs.
No, I the show was just more to bring more people in, get to know people, what they collect. You know, obviously, if you guys collect the same things, you can kind of hook up with each other. Obviously, the whole idea was just to kind of give you guys ideas and concepts on, what things that are out there, like databases that you can utilize. I know there's a website out there called collectors.com or something.
Oh, nice.
Database for everything.
I like that. Good one.
So, John.
Nice.
Yeah.
The best software in the world is now Parallels.
I told you.
You did told me. Parallels. I'm running Mac and Windows together, and all the drivers are compatible. I even got my function keys back that are all like little images across the top of the MacBook Pro.
Yep.
That never worked in Windows.
Oh.
And now it works.
Oh, nice. So now I can tell people to use this to run vMix on Mac, huh?
And you can do them both at the same time. It's crazy nuts. This thing is beautiful.
That's great.
Oh, in separate windows, so separate
But
monitors.
you
same.
can just slide. You can slide across a touchpad and go back and forth between Windows and Mac.
Oh, wow, that's insane.
Yeah, it's sweet.
Okay.
And it's
So
faster. It's faster than it was running single boot camp by itself.
Can you have a back end process running on one of the OSs while the other one's operational?
I'm playing a video game on Windows while I'm watching this in Mac.
Wow.
No way. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Crazy nuts.
But
so yeah, John, I was going to tell you, you should tell him the story about us collecting beer cans in San Diego when we got the beer cans from the sailors off of the British aircraft.
Yeah, but I don't know how to tell the punchline.
Well, it was something about hurl.
Yeah, it rhymes with pearl.
Pearl.
Preston, you've just been blabjack. This is what. Just so you know. Used to happen a lot over on that platform.
And everything goes.
That was a good one. No, I just had to say it. We don't want to take away from the content of your show, Preston, for certain. So I missed, though I got here late. What is it exactly you collect? I just wanted to have you recap real quick what it is your favorites are.
Ninja Turtle, yeah.
Ninja Turtles.
This is the big one.
I got Buzz Lightyear in the other room if you want me to bring him in.
This thing's 12 inches tall. Yeah, 12-inch model.
You know, it's funny though. You know, I know women also collect. I wanted to get a women's perspective, but I want to see what they're collecting because obviously we are boys with toys, and obviously,
all right. Well, here, give them
that we were
Either
a happy childhood or a sad childhood.
I found that at a thrift store, and I only paid I told John I paid a couple dollars for that. And I found one on eBay that they wanted 100 euros for it. The same model.
Oh yeah.
I was like, whoa, that's kind of pretty cool. I mean, I didn't realize what it was worth because I don't go out of my way to collect that kind of stuff. But I knew there was some value to them, you know, because the bigger figurines are, I think what they do is they make a series number. I think that's what they do. I'm not sure how many they actually produce.
They probably do. Yeah. Depends on the year. You know what I've been finding are great things to collect are old cameras. Polaroid cameras are huge. You can actually resell Polaroid cameras for about 10 times what you pay for them at a garage sale.
Jocelyn
because people eat. Really?
Yeah, I said earlier. Didn't you hear me?
Oh, there she is.
Shit, Jocelyn.
Hey, friend of you. We're following you.
We need a girl's perspective of what you guys are collecting. Oh, you girls are collecting.
Yeah, I was stepping out so we could get Jocelyn or Lindsay in here.
My wife used to collect these labels on the back of her dresses and her shirts and stuff and blouses. I'm like, why do you do that? She goes, I don't know, because it's fun.
Well, my aunt collects buttons. She's got a trailer truck full of buttons. Her truck trailer, literally, her husband bought her, my uncle, a whole trailer full of buttons one day, and she's still going through them and packaging them up and sending them out.
Jocelyn collects.
Wow, that's amazing.
Funny, Jocelyn.
Collects makeup. Isn't that every? I think all of them do, don't they? Hi, Jocelyn.
Hi.
I try to collect money, but that doesn't always come by.
Yeah, same. I try and collect money. It doesn't work.
No, I used to. No, what to answer your question, Leland? I collect Hot Wheels, so I have collected 5,000 Hot Wheels.
How many you got, Preston?
5,000 or so.
Where they at?
Ooh, that's huge.
They're in boxes. I wanted to put them up on my wall like wallpaper, but my wife didn't go for that one.
My wife won't let me do this either.
Yeah, I know. That's horrible.
So I didn't hear what Jocelyn collects. Did she say?
That makeup.
She's got to go to Walmart. She's going in. Okay. Oh, yeah, the makeup. That's right.
Jocelyn, I'm happy you're here, Jocelyn. I love you.
We'll see you around. For sure.
Nice to meet you.
Jocelyn's one of the first people I met on Blab. That's my first day. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I like collecting old tools too. If you guys are into anything like old, actually, some of the things I find sell the best are like old hammers you'd be amazed at how many of the woodworkers out there are into the old school stuff now. They want to go back to like wooden hammers and mallets and hand saws and all that stuff. So whenever you find that stuff in an old barn, an old garage sale that's selling some old guy's basement collection or whatever, those things are worth a mint right now because there's a lot of woodworkers out there that'll buy those up for top dollar.
Here's what I collect right here.
There you go.
Pictures of
You need
dead
to start.
presidents. Pictures of dead presidents.
I got a bunch of those, but they're on the wrong format.
I find a lot of those at the thrift stores and stuff here in Denmark are old wooden. You know, for planing wood.
Oh, there you go.
Planers.
Wood planers, yeah. You find them all over the place. They're made of hardwood. Yep. And then also augers. For some reason, those are really, really popular, and there's a lot of them around still that are still, you know.
Well, do you know how eBay started? This is a great story, Preston. Do you know how eBay started?
No. Haven't looked at history.
Pierre Omadar was a Pez collector.
Yep.
And that's how he started eBay. That was the story.
Wow.
So he sold his collection on his own website?
I don't know if he sold it or still has it. He lives right up the road from me.
Did you guys see Joycelyn's picture when she came on?
Yeah.
Who?
Joycelyn, did you see her picture?
Yeah.
Oh, because on my end, that's why I put that note to her, because on my side it just had her name up in the corner, but on her picture there was no picture, and I thought maybe it was her camera settings.
There's a picture.
No.
Cool. I'm going to show you Pierre Omadar's house here, a mile away from me. Eastern. Here it is. This is his compound that he has here in Las Vegas.
Nice.
I think it's 20,000 square feet. All single story. All single story.
Two pools, it looks like.
Yep.
There's one. It says Amidar, actually one of the first items sold on auction web was a broken laser pointer for $14.83. He contacted the winning bidder and asked if he understood that the laser pointer was broken. The buyer explained, "I'm a collector of broken laser pointers."
Oh, that's hilarious.
Really? There's people that pointers. So there you go. Back to the matter.
Well, Jack Ma has an interesting story too about how he started his thing.
Yeah. For sure. I was so surprised one day PJ Entrepreneur posted my video for Amy Carey's classroom on Jack Ma's wall. I was like, dude, what are you doing? He goes, and I didn't realize at the time, but PJ actually runs and maintains his Facebook page. And he was like, oh, don't worry about it. I sit down for dinner. Oh, yeah, he has meals with Jack and Shenzhen all the time.
Wow.
Yeah,
so
pretty close.
Pierre's one of our billionaires, and then I'll show you another billionaire.
Yep.
House.
What, 10 billion annual, something like that right now?
Who, Pierre?
Yeah. eBay in general.
He's worth 11 bill, according to the Intertubes.
Oh, okay.
Here.
Well, I was talking about like the revenue.
Oh, yeah, it's way up there.
Yeah, 10 billion, it says. 9.5.
Look at this house.
It only cost them $2.5 to operate it. Wow.
So is
that a moat around the castle there or what?
This is Sheldon Adelson. You know who Sheldon Adelson is?
Nope. No, not. But I probably should.
He owns the Venetian.
Yep, I know who.
But he's also known as the owner of Comdex. Remember Comdex, the big computer convention?
Way back. Yeah.
That he started Comdex and sold it to SoftBank for $4 billion or so. And he took that money and he bought the Venetian Hotel, and now he's made a ton of money, mostly off of the Macau properties. Those are the ones that are huge performers. And then he's got that big casino in Singapore with the boat on the top.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I've seen it.
Singapore.
Nazim shared a link with me on that one day. I gotta go look at that.
That thing's a monster.
Here's the property. Oh, it's a shitty picture.
Oh, that one. Yeah, I know which one. My daughter.
Marina Bay Sands.
It's in Macau.
No, it's Singapore.
So he
Singapore.
builds his own house, but he collects the taxes too.
That's right. This place is looks great on the outside. It's not as fancy inside than our top hotels here in Las Vegas. Like the Venetian or the Wynn Hotel are much nicer appointed inside. But there's a documentary on Netflix that showed how they built this giant boat on the top. It's pretty.
No, it's not the one I was thinking of. Okay, wow. So who owns the cruise line again?
I don't know.
Or the cruise line name? What is you don't know the name of it?
No.
Because I thought Nazim shared that one. That wasn't the one I thought it was. Because Nazim's building Virgin boats. I mean, he's basically architecting everything on the interior for Virgin Cruise Lines and working pretty tight with Richard.
Yeah.
I get a kick out of watching videos of him and Richard dancing on tables and stuff. It's outrageous. Richard likes to hire Boy George as his DJ and stuff.
I'll tell you an interesting story. I was 16. Howard Hughes had an old ranch out here in Las Vegas. At that time was like at the end of the city. And then on a dirt road, I don't know, a couple hundred yards past that house is where all the people in that area used to dump their garbage. So there was a ton of garbage out there. And I'm walking around.
The collector's dream.
Yeah, looking for beer cans. And I lift up a mattress, and there's a Carling Blue Label beer can underneath there that was perfectly protected from the elements. At that time was like 20 years old.
Yeah. I had a piece that I found on do you guys have Veterans of or Volunteers of America sites anywhere in your states, like a Goodwill?
Oh yeah,
that's where I do a lot of my shopping for collectibles. Well, I went out and I found this piece, and I could probably bring it up here if I digged for it. It was a hand sculpted cup with a pedestal on it with a lid, and I saw it was signed, and I was like, wow, this is cool. And it was handmade, you could tell. So I took it home and started posting it on eBay, trying to figure out, and I started to see these other pieces by the same guy that could have been worth, up to $1,500 a piece. I paid $6 for it. So I decided to just really dig into it, and I got notified by this gentleman in New York City, said he wanted the piece. He was looking for it because it was his great uncle or something that was the actual artist, and they were going around trying to collect all his pieces and put them somewhere on display or just bring them back into the family. So it was a pretty cool experience that they actually found it through me and connected, and I got to give it back to them. Made a few $100s in the process, and yeah, it was really kind of unique.
Yeah,
so where do you tend to sell these at, though, John? Where's the biggest market for these beer can collectors right now?
They have conventions, beer can conventions. Okay. You know what? Ever since the internet came out, most collectibles have decreased in price, is my experience.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, I see the same.
So this can, for example, on a beer can collection would sell for, I don't know, $60, $70. And today, because of the internet, probably worth $30.
Really?
Yeah.
That's a bummer.
But I never sold any.
I remember drinking out of those cans.
What we do, we do traders. So in the West Coast, we had lots of Coors, and Coors didn't used to ship past east of the Mississippi, and so all the guys from back east would trade my Coors cans for other cans that they had access to. So you had a whole collection of duplicates. You had traders, and you'd use those as currency to acquire other cans.
Yeah, a lot of bartering going on.
Yep.
I'll have to bring up some. I got another form I'll bring up. Have you guys ever heard of handbills?
No. What's that?
Got any of these? It was back in the days of the Grandy Ballroom here in Detroit anyway. There were things known as basically concert handbills. They were like a postcard size, but a little bit taller and wider. and they were hand-drawn psychedelic artwork and such by the likes of Gary Grimshaw and John Sinclair, very well-known artists back in the 60s, where these concerts, they put like 3-4 bands together, and for $4 you could go see Ted Nugent and the Amboy Dukes, Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band, Fleetwood Mac, Jefferson Airplane, you name it, they were all there. And I inherited a collection of those handbills and started selling those on eBay as well. So if you ever see those around, they're worth a lot of, they can be worth anywhere from $10 to $400 a piece, depending on what band is on them. I'll pull up some pictures of them here in a bit. Something else to look into.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Leah. I know what you're talking.
They've gone up in price a bit.
Those are interesting. Can 007 cans.
These used to be the rarest beer cans. These were the most collectible, if you could ever find them. They're very, very rare. And they worth back then when I was a kid, they were worth $500-600.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what they're selling for these days.
007.
Probably.
This is what I'm talking about. These things right here. This is an image of a Quicksilver messenger band or messenger service handbill. I'll just flip through a couple of them here if I can. Let me get, that's on Etsy. Let me go back here to the.
What about
page.
records? Do you guys collect records?
Never have collected records.
Look at this.
Did.
Hard to find, good condition, sell for $6,000 for the set.
I had this one right here.
I've seen some like that there, John, where the guy's got the British, the military. I've seen one of those in the thrift store here.
Really?
Yeah.
Gotta go pick it up.
Worth about $800. Don?
Yeah. That's better
You know
than
what
an Turtle, dude.
I thought it was like somebody had done it like an aftermarket thing, like they bought the can and they decided to put like a decoupage on the can. I thought it was like handmade instead of factory. So that's probably one of the reasons why I just overlooked it. There's a lot of stuff in the thrift stores here that probably has got a lot of value, but you can overlook it because it does look either really beat up or it's just something that you don't see any value, personal value. You go, oh, where I don't see the value.
The original ones were made in the 70s, and they have pull top. They had pull tops on them, tabs. Remember the old days of beer?
Yeah. Yep.
This was the one I sold for $400. That one was worth probably the higher end of some of the cards that I had. A lot of these are like, if they were bands like the MC5 that were only in Detroit, playing at the Taj Mahal and what have you, then you might find the Rationales. They were local bands. They would get a little more money. But here's a good display right here.
Who's the artist?
Yeah, they're depended. You had a lot of different people. Russ Gibbs usually ran the shows back in those days, and they've just discovered, honestly, when they tore down what was that? You would probably know, John. There was a huge memorabilia shop in Southern California that caught fire, and they had to move a bunch of the archives somewhere else, I think it was. And they found a bunch of these original posters that were done by Russ Gibbs and Gary Grimshaw and a few others back in the day, the original full-size posters that were created, and they were like one of a kinds, and they were all buried in drawers in the basement of this building. And I just dug them up. I'll have to go look for it again. But Wayne State, this is at Wayne State University, has a display of these on their wall.
So when Randy and I were kids, there's this movie that came out called Tarzoon. You guys remember this?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
When we were kids, people were out. All the kids were going out and paying money to get one of these posters. These were posters that they produced. And you see the little penises walking? They called those the penisauruses. Look at Randy. I still have the poster. Where did you put it, Randy?
Tarzoon.
My closet rolled up. I'm sure your wife liked that hanging on your wall, huh?
Right. Oh, no, don't see it. I'll have to look for that article. All right. Well, I got to get ready for the Turkey Day celebrations over here. John, you going to be out here tomorrow? Yeah, we got a week early. We got one a week early and one a day after. So,
yeah, I'm around. But truly appreciate your help yesterday, brother. Thank you very much.
No, that's all right. I want to help in any way I can. I mean, honestly, I got some big time slots open right now with the way things are going. So if there's something you need done, just let me know what it is you need.
I didn't see these pictures.
All right.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, I dumped all those up on the back end. I was just snapping away while we were producing. Some of them were trying. It was weird, though. You can see where a bunch of duplicates went through. What Skype is doing is it's like caching the display and only set. I took those pictures literally 3 seconds apart, and they were still giving me the exact same image. So keep that in mind.
Did you see the professional pictures that we posted?
No, I'll go check them out, though. I'll go take a look. I feel like I'm stepping out. Preston, thanks for doing the show, man. I appreciate you letting us come in and show off our collection. So
Yeah, no problem.
Do it again sometime.
Thanks.
Leland, here's the pictures real quick. I'll go through. That's the back. There's the entire studio. There's a wide shot of the entire studio.
Preston's